This is Matador News, and these are today's headlines.
Pas abîmer le monde.
French President Hollande meets with President Obama to discuss the fight against ISIS. Turkey's downing of a Russian jet fuels tension over Syrian conflict.
LGS deploy. Welcome back, New Shepard.
And billionaire businessman Jeff Bezos launches and lands a rocket ship designed to someday carry tourists into space.
Good afternoon and welcome to Matador News. I'm Sofia Levin.
I'm Kamryn Williams.
French President Francois Hollande meets with President Obama at the White House in an effort to build an anti-ISIS alliance. The two presidents held a joint news conference where efforts to push back ISIS were discussed.
Le monde.
To destroy what we've built generation after generation. They will not be able to damage the world. And against Daesh, we need a joint response, an implacable joint response. France and the United States stand together to bring that joint response.
This is an important moment for our nations and for the world. This barbaric terrorist group, ISIL or Daesh, and its murderous ideology pose a serious threat to all of us. It cannot be tolerated. It must be destroyed, and we must do it together.
Hollande says a greater cooperation between the U.S. and Russia is necessary in the battle. Washington has remained skeptical about President Vladimir Putin's intentions in Syria and has until now prevented significant military cooperation. President Hollande will next travel to Russia and meet with President Putin. Also discussed in the news conference is the breaking news of Turkey's downing of a Russian warplane near the Turkish-Syrian border.
Turkey, like every country, has a right to defend its territory and its airspace. I think it's very important right now for us to make sure that both the Russians and the Turks are talking to each other, find out exactly what happened, and take measures to discourage any kind of escalation.
Fighter jets on patrol took down the plane after Turkish officials say it repeatedly ignored warnings that it was violating their airspace. The two pilots ejected and parachuted down amid gunshots. Both pilots are dead. The attack may escalate the strained relationship between the NATO member country and Russia. President Putin says the downing will have serious consequences. NATO is holding an emergency meeting in Brussels today in regards to the incident.
The United States has issued a worldwide travel alert in response to the Paris attacks. The State Department wants individuals to remain cautious as groups like ISIS continue to plan terrorist attacks in multiple regions. The alert suggests individuals should exercise vigilance in public places and avoid large crowds. A U.S. State Department representative says there is no reason to believe that U.S. citizens should be specifically targeted. The alert will expire on February 24, 2016. Officials in Brussels, Belgium, say they'll keep soldiers patrolling the streets for a week. Brussels has been on lockdown in the highest state of alert, fearing the attack similar to the one in Paris 10 days ago. One of the suspected Paris gunmen is still on the loose, and police say he may still be in Northern Europe. In Brussels, government officials as well as schools, public transportation, shopping centers, and museums have been closed for 4 days in the fear of an attack from jihadists. Soldiers will continue to patrol the streets for the rest of the week.
Minneapolis police have arrested one man and still searching for additional people suspected of firing gunshots at a Black Lives Matter protest. The group was demonstrating the fatal shooting of Jamar Clark by city police earlier this month. 5 protesters were hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries. Minneapolis NAACP President Nikema Levy Pounce say they will not back down until there is change and justice in Minneapolis.
I mean, people have to make a decision about whether they're comfortable being here, but many of us are saying we will not turn around, we will not back up, we are not afraid, we are going to continue to stand up for what we believe in, and that is change that needs to come to the city of Minneapolis. We need justice, we need equality.
Following the violence near the precinct, Clark's brother said he was thankful for the protesters for honoring his brother, but that they should find other ways to do it.
Veronica Perez is in the newsroom with more on this story.
A new nationwide poll by CNN says roughly half of Americans say racism is a big problem in society today. The numbers show a drastic change from 4 years ago when 28% described racism that way. And in 1995, just a few years after the Rodney King case, 41% said racism was a big problem. CSUN is one of the most diverse institutions in the nation. CSUN students and professors have different opinions on the intensity of racism in our society today.
I really think it really depends on where you go, but the region really does affect how people perceive the issues that are going on and whether or not they're real or not. And that level of realism in turn affects how they act about this.
Racism is still a problem in our society. It is not always very overt. Most of the time is covert. As a black person in America, I've been followed around when I go to department stores. There's always that suspicion that a black person is going to be doing something untoward, and you feel that you've been followed.
I feel in Southern California it's not that big of a problem because of how far we've come. Like, I feel like racism also played a part in like the gay pride movement. So like if we're willing to accept that, that's been like shunned way before like racism. I feel like we can almost obliterate racism.
Get more educated. I think the issue of racism decreases. And I think in America, since it's a melting pot, it's one of the places where the issue of racism can be reduced. But to think that racism could be defeated 100% is just not realistic. I think there will always be people who has certain racist views.
Good. CNN will release in detail the entire survey this evening. Now back to Sofia in the studio.
Thank you, Veronica. A Chicago police officer who fatally shot black teen Laquan McDonald is being charged with first-degree murder. Chicago authorities say McDonald was armed with a 4-inch knife when Officer Jason Van Dyke confronted the 17-year-old in October 2014. The teen reportedly did not comply with the police when they told him to drop the knife numerous times. McDonald died, and after he was shot 16 times. Many city officials are bracing themselves for the potential unrest in the city. Van Dyke has a court appearance today for a bond hearing.
A gas leak in Porter Ranch is causing families to evacuate from their homes just days before Thanksgiving. Residents are demanding the Southern California Gas Company closes its Alasso Canyon storage facility. The facility is leaking methane and is accounting for a quarter of California's methane emission. Officials with the gas company and health department tell residents they will not have permanent or long-term effects. Students who go to school in the area are not allowed to play outside. Los Angeles Unified School District Superintendent Ramon Cortines says the district will have its own investigation.
Prosecutors are charging 2 more men in connection with the fatal shooting of Downey police officer Ricardo Ricky Galvez. Jeremy Alvarez and Stephen Knott are being charged with 1 count of murder after the fatal shooting. Prosecutors are also charging them with second-degree robbery. The third suspect, Abel Diaz, is a 16-year-old and is facing the same charges as an adult. Investigators say Galvez was sitting in his personal vehicle when 2 men walked up and shot the officer. The men fled in a Nissan sedan and officers followed in pursuit. Investigators soon caught up with the suspects and took them into custody. Officer Galvez's funeral will be held November 30th at the Cathedral of Our Lady at the Angelus in Los Angeles.
Now let's go to Caitlin Pieh with more on the business news.
Thank you, Kamryn. A reusable rocket safely lands upright after traveling over 300,000 feet into outer space. It's the first time one has landed safely. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos created the company Blue Origin in hopes of bringing tourists into outer space. Other companies like SpaceX have been unsuccessful in their attempts. Competitors struggle with landing upright and end up having to discard the rockets. Blue Origin hasn't announced the cost of travel but is taking names for future flights. The largest pharmaceutical company in the world, Pfizer, still needs approval before its merger with Allergan. The $160 billion merger would make it the second biggest merger ever. Irish drug maker Allergan is best known for making Botox. Company officials say consumers will not have to worry about drug prices spiking, but the Obama administration is trying to stop the merger due to tax concerns. Merging with the Irish company would dramatically reduce Pfizer's taxes. If it gets approval, the deal would close by the end of next year. Some of the biggest shopping days of the year are approaching, and consumers are preparing for Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales. Matador news reporter Diana Jimenez is in the newsroom with more on this story.
Black Friday is approaching, and some customers are already lined up outside different retailers. Figuring out discounts, promotions, and coupons are testing consumers' patience and math skills. According to America's research group, more than 3/4 of shoppers want discounts of 60% off before making a purchase. Even though Black Friday is a big shopping day, some CSUN students say they prefer to shop online rather than to stay in line.
I'd rather do Cyber Monday. Yeah. And also I think just because I don't like going, I feel everybody gets so crazy about getting deals and they're out there and trampling over each other, and it's too much. And I always do my shopping online anyway, so.
I don't think I would want to go Black Friday shopping just because everyone's really hectic and everyone's trying to get, the latest TV or the latest clothes or, whatever's for their children or for their wives or grandchildren. So
I would rather do Cyber Monday and be on Amazon shopping because I'm hoping there's deals for NFL gear.
Personally, I prefer Cyber Monday because you don't have to make lines and you don't have to you can literally get whatever you want and just go online, go to Amazon Prime and use that. I've used it before and it's super awesome, so that's why I like it.
Some retailers like Barnes & Noble, Costco, and REI will not be open on Black Friday. Those workers will be paid to stay home with their families on that day. Those who are lining up should make sure to bring a warm coat and a good pair of shoes because the wait will be long and the deals will be low. Let's check in with Aurabella Hernandez for more on sports news.
The New England Patriots defeated the Buffalo Bills 20-13 last night, but there was some controversy during the game. An accidental whistle nullified a potential Patriots big play. League officials say the whistle should not have been blown. Patriots quarterback Tom Brady completed 20 of 39 passes for 277 yards and 1 touchdown. Brady's touchdown pass was to running back James White for his first career reception. White also added a 7-yard touchdown run late in the third to give New England a 17-10 lead. The Patriots improved to 10-0 on the season. They will look into remaining undefeated when they play the Denver Broncos next Sunday night. The NFL is looking for a reason why St. Louis Rams quarterback Case Keenum did not get checked for concussion after Sunday's game. Keenum struggled to get back on his feet after his head was slammed on the turf on Rams' final drive. Head coach Jeff Fisher said he was unaware of what happened to Keenum.
I didn't see anything from my vantage point on the sideline as far as Case's slow recovery. The shots that you've seen where he got up slow that we've seen out there, okay? I didn't see that.
The league says that in the meantime, they will reinforce protocols to properly address these injuries. Rams officials says Keenum's status remains in question for this week's game. The Los Angeles Dodgers say Dave Roberts will be their new manager next season. He will take over for former Dodgers manager Don Mattingly. Roberts was the bench coach for the San Diego Padres last season. He coached the Padres for 1 game last season after the Padres fired manager Bud Black. Roberts will be the first Dodgers manager that is a minority in franchise history. He is a former player that played for the Dodgers in 2002 through 2004. Now let's go to Caitlin with more on entertainment news.
The 43rd Annual American Music Awards wins in ratings. More than 11 million people watched the killer performances, tributes to the Paris attacks, and of course, awards. Jennifer Lopez hosted this weekend's event. She opened the show dancing to a mashup of some of this year's favorite songs. Viewers also saw a tribute to Star Wars, Coldplay, Gorilla Dance Party, Alanis Morissette, and Demi Lovato's duet. Celine Dion paid tribute to Paris with images flashing in the background during her performance. Some of the winners were One Direction, Ariana Grande, and Sam Hunt. Taylor Swift won 3 awards, the most that evening. The night ended with Justin Bieber's emotional rain-soaked performance. 4 Republican candidates will be getting a lot of airtime on NBC in South Carolina, Iowa, and New Hampshire over Thanksgiving this weekend. The candidates filed complaints for equal airtime after frontrunner Donald Trump hosted an episode of Saturday Night Live earlier this month. The FCC ruled the candidates should have commercial and promotional airtime during primetime, but this does not mean they will host SNL. Let's go back over to Aurabella with the health news.
A new case of Ebola has been found just 2 months after Liberia health officials thought they defeated the deadly disease. The nation's health ministry says the new case was confirmed Thursday. 2 other high-risk contacts have also been tested positive for Ebola. All 3 undergoing care at Ebola Treatment Center in Monrovia's capital. Health Minister Dr. Bernice Dan says it is possible that Liberia would find more cases. Liberia has the highest number of fatalities from the outbreak with more than 4,000 deaths from Ebola. UC Irvine researchers may have found a way to stop malaria by manipulating the genes of mosquitoes. Scientists remove manipulated DNA from mosquitoes and insert new ones. Officials found the edited gene that stopped the transmission of malaria through 99.5% of mosquitoes' offspring. Scientists say the mosquitoes they created are not the final brand. Malaria is a deadly but curable disease primarily transmitted through the bite of female Anopheles densifi mosquitoes. The World Health Organization says more than 400,000 people died of malaria this year. That's it for health. Back to Kamryn with more on the week's weather.
Today will be a little chilly with an average of 68 degrees. There's a 10% chance of rain this evening. And tomorrow will be a high 62 degrees with partly cloudy skies and a chance of morning showers. It's going to be a clear, sunny day in Los Angeles for Thanksgiving with light winds and no sign of rain, so you and your family can enjoy your dinner in the nice fall air. For the skiers and beachgoers, there's going to be some snow along Mammoth Lake and some flooding and high tides along the southern coast from San Francisco to San Diego.
Thank you for watching Matador News, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Matador Newscast. I'm Sofia Levin.
I'm Aurabella Hernandez.
I'm Caitlin Pieh.
And I'm Kamryn Williams. We want to leave you with a special Thanksgiving greetings from our family to yours.
Happy Thanksgiving to my friends and family. I can't wait to spend time with you over the holidays.
Thanksgiving wishes to everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving to my family and friends.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Have a happy Turkey Day.
Happy holidays here from the Matador Newsroom.
Happy Thanksgiving, and I want to say hi to my mom and dad in Germany.
I'm going to be spending Thanksgiving with my family, and I'm very thankful for that.
I am thankful that I have my family. The cornbread's not ready yet.
Make sure you grab some pumpkin pie.